I went to the Lakers game last night. It was my first Luka Doncic in-person experience. I got to see some of the number 77 jerseys. Did I look around and wonder, are there more 77s than 23s in the audience? I might have looked at a couple sections and wondered about it, but something cool really happened during the game. Luka came out. He always tests these first quarters. And this is something he always did in Dallas too. You kind of want to watch the first quarter of a Luka game because you never know what the ceiling's going to be. Like at some point he's going to score 75 points in a game. It's going to happen. And he usually tests that first quarter to see how much he's feeling it. So he does it in this Lakers game. They're playing Denver. There's no Jokic. There's no Murray because God forbid you go to an NBA game and see all the stars on both teams. There's no LeBron either. Luka comes out. He scores 20 of the first 33 points. And you could feel a buzz building in the arena. That is the sound you only get to hear when this is happening with Curry, when Curry's hitting threes. You go back in time, like when Kobe was feeling it some nights, when Michael Jordan was feeling it some nights. It's the rarest sound you get at a basketball game where everybody's like, holy shit. You start looking at the scoreboard. So with like 4.5 minutes left, the Lakers had 33 points and he had 20. And now everybody's like out of their minds. They just can't. Oh my, could he score 100? Could he get third in the first quarter? Of course, from that point on, he goes down. He stunk in the second quarter. He wasn't good in the third quarter either. They win easily because the Nuggets had nobody. But the buzz in the arena, and I've been going to Laker games. I moved here in November 2002. The only other time I felt it at a Laker game like that was when Kobe was playing. And I remember the first time I moved to LA in mid-November and I went to a Laker game maybe 2 weeks later. Somebody brought me. I'd never been to a Laker game before. Grew up going to Celtic games, East Coast my whole life. Just had always hated the Lakers, hated the Showtime, never really understood it. And I go to this game and the thing that jumped out to me, it was Kobe and Shaq. It was, it was right after they'd won the three-peat. They lose in that 03 season, but it's Kobe and Shaq. It's typical really good home game. The thing that jumped out to me just sitting there was like, oh my God, these fans love Kobe. Like they love him. And it was my big takeaway from the night. Like, and there's reasons for that, right? He's drafted by the team. He's a teenager. They get to watch him go through the stages. Then they win titles with him. Shaq shows up from Orlando. He'd been there, I don't know, 4 years in Orlando, comes to the Lakers. So he's a little bit of a hired gun, kind of like LeBron now. And they love both of them together, but they really love Kobe. And you could feel that during the rest of the run. You get, especially the 06 season. I remember going to a bunch of games that year. It was after the trial. They weren't very good, but he just single-handedly scores 35 points a game. And just at some point after everything that happened with him in Colorado, it changed the tenor of the relationship of the fans with him in a way that people were like, this is our guy. We are sticking with him through thick and thin. Shaq's gone. Our team's not going to be very good, but this is our guy. And you could really feel it that 06 season. And, the only time I can remember with a basketball player was Bird with the Celtics, where it was just like 100% approval rating. Everybody's all in. This is our guy. We believe he can do anything. And I felt like Kobe got to the point with the fans. Really in the mid-2000s, you could feel it the most. And there was always buzz with him. And that year was the year, that was the year that he had that huge Toronto game, the 81. But in general, he was a threat to do whatever night after night after night. LeBron, as great as he is, was always like a totality of what he was doing. Like if you love basketball, how do you not absolutely love what he's doing? But the ultimate LeBron game would be like 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds. It's a little like Jokic. We're not going to tell our grandkids we were at a game where Jokic had 30, 20, and 15. It's amazing to watch. There's something different when somebody might have the chance to really go off. It's the rarest thing in basketball. And there was that feeling in there for a couple minutes. So it was that plus, there's performance with him where Los Angeles just makes sense. As a team that he plays for, he's working the crowd. At one point in the first quarter, some guy in red, he got fouled, and Luka has 20 at that point. He gets fouled. The guy, this dumbass with the drinks, like, ball don't lie. And Luka hears it and he turns around, he starts talking to the guy, talking shit to him. And now he's just interacting with this whole section. He does things that I think are pretty rare from a basketball standpoint. He does hear the crowd. He does interact with people. He does talk shit. He talks shit to the refs. He talks shit to everybody he's playing against. Like he almost got into it at one point with Peyton Watson, and you're watching, it's like, oh, watch out, Luka's pissed now. He just feels like he belongs in LA. And that was my big takeaway. I was thinking about, like, if you're going to have the perfect Laker for central casting, you'd want somebody who's a little polarizing, which Luka is, right? Great player, hasn't won the title yet, little out of shape, doesn't really play defense. Will have quarters where he just looks terrible, then a quarter where he's awesome. And there's like always the potential of something more. And he's still great. He's still one of the 5 best players in the league, but it's like, I wonder what else is there. So you have that. You have the performance aspect, which Kobe was unbelievable at. And LeBron's great at too. But Kobe, there was a demeanor to him at these games, especially as he really bought into it. That was just awesome. You have the no ceiling in any game you go to with Luka, which I think is as rare as it gets. And it's the thing that I think made Curry so special the last 10 years. It's like, am I at the game right now where Curry's going to hit 15 threes? Am I at the game right now where Curry's going to get 70? There's a one-on-one aspect with Luka that I think's important. There's nobody in the league remotely like him, like remotely. All the stuff he's doing, like he got in the first 8 minutes of the game I went to last night. Granted, Denver's missing their 2 best guys, but he beats everybody off the dribble for 8 minutes in a row. And he's doing the herky-jerky stuff. He's banging people. It's like, it felt like he could post up whoever he wanted. He could go by whoever he wanted. And he could make 27-footers. Oh, and he's an awesome passer too. So you have that. You have the Hollywood redemption comeback story because the Mavericks gave up on him. Like you could say they traded him. They got a lot back. Well, obviously they didn't get a lot back, but they gave up on him. They didn't believe that they could win a title with him. They didn't want to pay him $330 million. LA loves that. You have the Lakers outwitted another team to get him, which is it. I got to be honest. It feels like the Laker fans have their swagger back a little because, you know, you think like really since the Kobe Nash Howard year, and then they just sucked forever and they drafted in the top 4 and the picks were like pretty hit or miss and they missed out on guys like Tatum. And then they end up with LeBron basically because LeBron just wanted to move to LA. And then they end up with Davis because LeBron made them trade everything for Davis. So now they end up with those 2 guys. But for the most part, I wouldn't call it the shrewdest team over the years. Then Reeves is a great pick. And then Luka is the greatest trade maybe in the history of the league, at least since the Bill Russell trade. So you have that. And then you have the night to night with Luka where you show up in the building and you don't know where you're going to get. And you can't put a price on that. It goes beyond the trade. It goes beyond, you know, the fact that they fleeced Dallas, that they have somebody who's about to hit the prime of your career. Like this guy has a chance to be Kobe for these guys. And that's the difference. LeBron came in 2018. He'd been in the league 15 years. He belonged to Cleveland. So it's a business arrangement. It was year to year and it was great and it's worked out awesome. And they have a chance to make the finals this year, but it was always a little bit of an arrangement. Kobe is different. And when you go to the Staples and you see the statues when you walk in, and we were talking about like last night we're walking in, like, is Luka getting a statue here someday? You know, the statues are really smart. You go and you see Jerry West, you see Kobe, you see Magic, you see Shaq, and it's like, whose statue were they? Could LeBron get a statue? Maybe if they make the finals this year, maybe he's going to get one anyway. But Luka, what's sitting at stake now for him is not only can he become the face of the league. Earlier in the year, we're talking about face of the league. Like, this is it. This guy has a chance now to be the face of the league. Could he win titles here? Could you get a statue? And could you be one of the big celebrities in LA where night after night after night, people are going to these games to see him, to see what happens with him? And you could feel the buzz already. There's more celebrities at all these games. The energy is different. And I'm not saying it was bad before, but the energy reminded me of what it was like when I went to that Kobe game. It's the same thing. And you kind of either have that or you don't, and he has it. And it's one of the many reasons why that trade is fucking incredibly stupid. You're listening to the Bill Simmons podcast presented by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook is the best place to bet on the NBA. We have these fun little Tuesday, Friday player performance stuff We have same game parlays. We have picks from me sometimes and boosts and all kinds of fun things. Get ready in the playoffs. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today to get in on the action. And by the way, The Ringer is committed to responsible gaming. Please visit theringer.com/RG to learn more. Listen to the end of this episode for additional details. Must be 21 plus, present in select states. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com.